Has been pretty miserable these last few days, and the reason is, of course, because his wife, Grace, has left him. Now, none of us knows what brought this about, or who, if anyone, is to blame, and quite frankly, it's none of our business.
Actually, I had
None of our business, Joyce. Now, this is not a pep talk. I am not telling you what to do. But we are a team, and we must stand together through thick and thin, whatever the rights and wrongs. So this is what you're going to do. George Hope Wynne, for whatever reason, Joyce, has become separated from Grace, his wife of 28 years. You will all give George your full, loving and unquestioning support.
Through thick and thin, whatever the rights and wrongs.
Exactly. And if I catch any one of you not treating George with compassion, dignity and common human decency, I will personally stir-fry your favourite organs in a wok. Thank you.
I must say, I did find that lecture a trifle unnecessary.
As if we didn't feel for poor old Mr. Hope Wynne.
I'm the one who feels for him. George and I have always been very close.
I think he might need counselling.
What, from you, Michael? And what advice are you going to give him? Work harder on your pecs?
No, but there are professionals.
Mr. Hopeman is not going to be thrown to the social workers as long as he's got us. We're his team, and we'll treat him with the respect he deserves.
So what have you heard, then?
Actually, nothing.
But you said you...
I know, but I've got a reputation to keep up. Do you know anything, Mr. Copeland?
Strangely, no.
To be honest, I think they just got fed up with each other. I had a long chat with George a couple of nights ago. I tried to give him some advice, but frankly, he was in such a state.
Oh, he's coming, he's here, he's here!
Good morning, one and all.
George, I just want you to know that you have our full, unquestioning support.
Ha! Good old Neil. Always the joker.
Mr. Hope Wynne, are you all right?
Right as a trivet. Well, can't stand here all day gossiping, although I'm sure Joyce has her usual quota of juicy morsels. No, I've got places to go, people to see, tonsils to pluck.
George, are you taking something?
Don't be silly. The only thing I've taken is Joyce's excellent advice.
My advice?
Excellent.
Absolutely. I've hired myself a housekeeper, and I must say she's worth her weight in private polyps.
A housekeeper? That was Joyce's advice?
Well, she said I should get a woman in. Thanks, Mrs. Hudson. My home is now warm and welcoming and spotlessly clean, and I can watch whatever I want on TV. The whiskey decanter is no longer under lock and key, and the woman is simply a wonderful cook.
That's nice.
And what's more, Mrs. Hudson costs a lot less to run than Grace.
Nimbly done, Giles. I can see our loss will be Solihull's gain.
Oh, I don't expect I'll get the job. I never do.
You mean you never did? Yet? But you'll be a senior registrar sooner than you think. And then you'll be up and out of here quicker than you can say dephosphorylase phosphokinase.
That's easy for you to say. But every time I go for a job, they say, thank you very much, but go away.
I can't imagine why. You've got your fellowship, great track record.
Yes, but I don't think I do very well at the interviews.
Rubbish. I'm sure you'll give a very true impression of yourself.
That's the trouble.
Of course, it could be that your boss doesn't write you a very good reference. Have you thought of that?
Don't you dare lay that one on me. I have always given you an excellent reference. All those jobs you've lost entirely on your own merit.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so.
In fact, I've already written your reference for Solihull. It goes off tomorrow. And in it I have listed in some detail all your finer points, of which, and it really pains me to say this, there are many.
Gosh.
You're a damn fine surgeon, Giles. And the good people of wherever Solihull is can rest easy in their beds, or whatever it is they sleep in, secure in the knowledge that their hernias are safe in your hands.
Now I know you're only teasing me.
Giles, you are so dim. I'm telling you the truth.
She is, Giles. Don't be misled. Just because Sheila treats you like something unexpected that's crept out of her salad. That's a gesture of affection.
Oh, I see. Well, that's very sweet of you, Mrs. Sabatini.
Sweet.
Well, I mean, I'm awfully grateful, but I don't expect I'll get it.
Child, you have all the self-confidence of a guppy. We all think you're great.
You'll be sadly missed.
What? You'll miss me?
I said you'll be sadly missed, Giles. Don't push your luck.
Oh, George, there you are. Listen, I was thinking of popping up the road for a snifter. Care to join me?
Normally I'd love to, old boy, but I've got to get home.
Home? Oh, sorry, I thought being on your own sort of thing.
It's a kind thought, Neil. But tonight, Mrs. Hudson is preparing a Lancashire hot pot.
Ah, splendid.
So it's home to a swift shower, and then the fire will be lit and the scotch and soda set on the occasional table at my elbow, half an hour of Emmerdale, and at 7:30 prompt, the hot pot of my dreams will be au point.
I never knew a hot pot could be so enticing.
Almost anything would be better than the stuff Grace used to dish up. My flesh still creeps at the thought of her sardine en croûte.
The toasted sardine sandwiches.
When do you remember the sardines?
I don't think you should be too hard on Grace, George. I mean, you were married a fair number of years, of course, and the magic does begin to fade, but, well, surely you had some good times together. Think of all the good times.
You never really knew Grace, did you, Neil?
Weren't you ever happy, George?
Happy? Yes, of course.
Well, think of all the times you were happy together.
Together? Well, Mrs. Hudson's hot pot calls. And do you know, she has her very own recipe book stuffed with traditional English grub. Spotted dick for afters.
Someone's happy.
It's not natural.
You're right, Michael. He needs a spot of counselling to wipe the smile off his face.
He's in shock or something. I mean, would I behave like that if you and I split up?
Well, would you?
Giles, I'm just doing a spot of barrel scraping. Care to join me for a snifter?
I can't. I'm on call tonight.
Ah, not to worry, merely a thought. Well, no. Well, perhaps I'll just go home.
Easy on that retractor, Rachel. Damn! We're not into healthy tissue here. The sutures aren't holding. I'm going to resect more of this distal portion. Did you phone Mrs. Sabatini?
She's here.
Clap that bleeder, Rachel. That one there. There! Oh, I'll do it!
Sorry, Giles.
Suction, Rachel! Thank you. Did the lads get a cross match?
Not yet.
We're going to need more own egg.
It's all in hand.
The peritoneum's just falling apart. This is bad. This is bad. Ah, Mrs. Sabatini, we're having a spot of trouble here.
Oh, well, you got me up in the middle of the night for a spot of trouble.
Well, no, it's quite bad, actually. The problem
I can
is...
see what the problem is. Right, we're going to do colectomy and ileostomy.
I was hoping to avoid that.
Very noble of you, Giles, but I think we should do it now and do it quickly while your patient still has a pulse.
Thank you, Mrs. Sabatini. I'm sorry about this.
Gordon, will you confirm that the patient was still alive when I entered the theatre? No more worry about the usual rules. We won't kill her if you don't.
I'm terribly grateful, Mrs. Sabatini.
Nurse, size 7 gloves.
Joyce, any idea why I woke up this morning and found myself in bed on my own?
Sheila's asleep in her consulting room. For your information, that woman is totally exhausted.
Well, don't look at me. Morning.
Morning.
And what happened to you last night, eh?
Giles happened.
Yeah, there was a bit of a flap on. It's been pretty serious to drag you away from the rapture of our marital bed.
Hello, Gillian. Could you bring in my folder with the letters for signature, please? Thank you. Bit of a flap's putting it mildly. Giles was prattling about with a perforated colon that came in as an emergency and nearly went out as a corpse.
Did it cope, though, did it?
Barely. When I arrived, it was hard to tell which was falling apart quicker, Giles or the patient's gut.
You're exaggerating.
I am not, Jonathan. He was faffing about trying to stitch the pieces together when he should have seen there was no hope of it working. It was like plaiting fog.
What did you do? Whip the lot out?
He should have seen that was the only thing to do, and he didn't do it. He panicked. Thank you, Gillian. Thank you, that's all.
Wait a minute. That's Charles's reference you wrote for the Solihull job.
I can't honestly recommend a surgeon who goes to pieces under pressure.
I thought we were all part of a team. Standing by each other, whatever the rights and wrongs. At least give Giles a chance to put his side of the story.
I was there.
Where can I find Mr. Hope Wynne?
Do you have an appointment?
No, but I
I'm
just thought
sorry, this is the operating theatre suite. You can't...
George. You left your briefcase at home.
Mrs. Hudson, bless you.
Mrs. Hudson?
He's wearing a baseball cap.
This is none of our business.
We mustn't jump to conclusions.
However hard we might try.
The fact remains, Mrs. Hudson's doing Mr. Hope Wynne a power of good. She feeds him school dinners and lets him see Baywatch.
Watch.
Well, there are some things you miss out on doing ear, nose and throat.
Joyce, there's something I've got to talk to you about.
Not now, Michael. We're busy. I'll swear he's put on weight.
Well, whatever makes him happy.
Whatever the rights and wrongs.
I'm sorry, Joyce. I need to borrow your office.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's absolutely impossible.
I've just seen this copy of your latest reference for Giles.
Yes, I can see you've seen it.
You're not going to send this?
No, I'm not.
Good.
I've already sent it.
You what? Good God, woman, this'll ruin his career. While his technical ability is of an acceptable standard, he has proved to be unreliable under pressure. Why didn't you go the whole hog? Call him a spineless wimp who shouldn't be allowed within spitting distance of a scalpel.
PTO.
Oh, Sheila, what are they going to think when they read this?
No doubt they'll put their own interpretation on it.
How many ways can you interpret big girl's blouse?
Jonathan, it's too late to quibble. That letter went off days ago. Giles actually had his interview yesterday.
You call this standing by him through thick and thin? I don't think so. You've screwed up his prospects because of one incident last week when he was in a difficult situation and annoyed you by getting you up in the middle of the night.
He should have been able to cope.
He did the right thing. He sent for help. The patient lived.
The patient would have lived anyway if he kept his head and done the ileostomy.
It was a tricky op. He needed 2 pairs of hands.
The house surgeon was there.
He needed expert hands. He needed you.
Giles and Rachel could have coped perfectly well. He cracked up.
Well, if he did, and I'm not sure he did, but if he did, I would have thought he needed our support and not a stiletto between the scapulae. What happened to the old team spirit, eh? Eh?
This is different. Patients' lives could be at risk.
Well, I still think that
Quite frankly, I don't give a damn what you think. I am the head of this surgical department, not you. Giles is clearly not senior registrar material. And as a matter of professional integrity, it is my duty to say so. The end.
All well with Mrs. Hudson?
Couldn't be better, going from strength to strength. Pork chops in cider tonight.
And for afters?
Roly-poly pudding, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I tell you, Neil, the things that woman gets up to in the kitchen.
I can imagine, I think.
Believe me, it would be a foolish man who turned his nose up at her dumplings.
Tell me, George, you don't have to tell me, of course, but what was it that made Grace decide to leave you?
Oh, good Lord. I was never much good at working out what went on in her mind.
Well, surely it was something you said, something you did that brought it on? I mean, how's it done?
Now you mention it, I don't think it was any one thing as such. More a cumulative effect.
So it was your behaviour throughout the entirety of your married life that did the trick?
Yes, I suppose it was. Ha! Best 28 years' work I ever did.
What on earth does Mrs. Hudson see in him? He's plump.
Jonathan, this is not a matter for administration. I don't see how I can intervene.
Surely you can do something for him. All right, not as an administrator, but as a colleague, a friend, an interfering busybody.
Gorgeous morning. Why so glum?
Giles, how'd the interview go at Solihull?
It went.
Not good, then.
To be honest, I thought they were a bit hostile.
And you know why, don't you?
Oh, well, it's all in the game. Nobody to blame but myself.
Giles, you are such a big girl's... I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
No, I know. But you meant it.
Jonathan, I believe you're doing my list today. Let's make a prompt start. I'm after an early finish. If I get home on time, I've been promised a Cornish cream tea with homemade raspberry jam.
You're the boss.
Dr. Haslam, there's something really bothering me.
Join the club.
Got to tell someone. What? It's about Giles, that night in theatre.
Giles.
Yes?
Giles, I was sorry to hear you didn't get the job in Solihull.
Were you?
Well, that's okay. I didn't really want to go there anyway. Solihull. I mean, Solihull.
I mean, Giles, that's a major surgical centre. It'd have been a great move career-wise.
Yes, I know, but... Oh, there'll be plenty more senior registrar jobs coming up in the future. And I'm bound to get one of them one day, aren't I?
Yes.
Look him in the eyes and say that.
When you're finished here, perhaps you could join me in my office for a little chat about your future.
Or lack of it.
About 20 minutes, all right?
Yes, of course. Close, would you, Rachel?
Nice job.
Thank you.
Tell me, George, it's not just about the food, is it?
What isn't?
Mrs. Hudson thing, it isn't just about the food.
Oh, that, no, it isn't just about the food.
You're not serious.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the cleaning, companionship, conversation, one thing and another.
What particular one thing and another?
Oh, you know.
I do? George, do I?
Come in, Giles.
Right.
Sit down and shut the door.
What?
Shut the door and sit down.
It's about Giles.
I can't keep quiet any longer. I was there in theatre that night. I saw what really happened.
What?
Well, ask Giles. If he won't tell you, Michael will.
All right, that's it. I've just had enough of this. I've seen you two skulking around the sluice room, muttering dark secrets like something out of Julius Caesar. Now, if you've got something on your mind, let's hear it. And preferably before the Ides of March.
Dr. Haslam, Michael's in a difficult position.
Then tell me about it.
Well, maybe...
Sit down.
There's no need to read the other page, Giles. I think you get the picture.
Rather too clearly, yes.
Frankly, after what happened in theatre the other night, I doubt that I can ever honestly recommend you for senior responsibility.
Not ever.
No.
So that's it then. End of story, end of surgical career.
Not necessarily. Sort of. More or less. I'm sorry.
It'd be a terrible blow for my mother.
She'll get over it. Buy her a bunch of flowers, sit her down with a nice cup of tea.
She's professor of cardiac surgery at Edinburgh.
Oh. You never mentioned this before?
No, I didn't want to use Mummy's position as a lever for me to get on in surgery. It's too late now, I suppose.
Yes. It's a funny thing, genetics, the way that characteristics sometimes skip a generation.
Oh, yes, I know. I've never been able to grow a moustache.
Your father has a moustache.
No.
Look, why don't we have a little chat about general practice?
Sheila.
For God's sake, keep out of this, Jonathan. Giles and I are having our little chat, and it's going very well, isn't it?
Excellent.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear it. But I bet you're not talking about what actually happened that night.
If you're talking about the night that Giles cracked up,
It
yes.
wasn't Giles who cracked up. It was the house surgeon.
Rachel.
She was tired.
So, we all have to work when we're tired. I'm tired now, and you've only been in here 2 minutes.
But she was foolish enough to take 30 milligrams of dexamphetamine to keep her going.
Yes?
She had a bad reaction. Shakes, panic attacks, confusion. She was worse than useless during that operation. She simply couldn't give Giles the assistance he needed.
And that's why you called me in?
I'm afraid so. Sorry.
Giles, you prat. Why didn't you tell me about Rachel?
Because, like you said, we're a team. We stand by each other through thick
You
and
were
thin.
seriously prepared to lay your career on the line to protect this dingbat on speed?
I was confused.
Charles, I have to apologise to you. I think I may have done you a grave disservice.
No, I was in charge that night. Whatever happened in that operating theatre was my responsibility.
Well, I shall certainly have words with this Rachel.
No, don't do that. I've spoken to her already, and it's over.
Giles?
I was keen to spare her any formal disciplinary action over one stupid mistake.
Stop doing this, Giles.
Please, Mrs. Sabatini, go easy on Rachel.
Giles, I genuinely cannot bear the sight of you being noble.
She's learned her lesson. It won't happen again.
Make him stop it.
Come on. Well, she's young. She's got her whole career ahead of her. Something
Get
like
him
this
out of here!
Me? Well, I mean, I'm young. I can
Stop
take
it!
it off.
Stop it! Stop it!
Privileged to work on your team.
Oh, my God.
No hard feelings, Mrs.
Get
Sabatini.
out!
Good heavens! What happened to you?
Grace came back.
What she did was say the most terrible things to Mrs. Hudson.
Actually, she accused Mrs. Hudson of being a gold digger and preying on vulnerable old men.
Which Mrs. Hudson denied, obviously.
No, oddly enough, she owned up to that one. What really came as a shock when she started saying appalling things about me.
Such as?
Well, the word plump came up.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And after that, the two of them went at it, hammer and tongs. And do you know, the funny thing is that after all those years of married life together, I found myself taking Grace's side.
You leapt to her defence.
Yes, I did, and that's when Mrs. Hudson threw her recipe book at me.
Caught you in the...
Yeah, right in the eye, yes.
Yes. So Mrs. Hudson's gone now, is she?
Gone, and good riddance.
Quite right, too. I don't expect you've kept her telephone number, have you?
Mr. Copeland.
In case of police proceedings, that sort of thing?
No. Mrs. Hudson has gone out of my life forever.
And Grace is home and everything's back the way it was.
Well, not quite.
Why not?
I kept the recipe book.
The fact remains you overreacted without checking the facts. You ruined Giles' chances at Solihull, and you very nearly ended his surgical career.
All right, I'm feeling guilty. What more do you want?
Well, I'd like to make you climb up the wall and sing Sweet Sue, but that's for later. However, Bodger Wilkinson will be leaving next month. So there's going to be a senior registrar post here at the Gillies.
Yes?
And if Giles puts in for it, I'm sure you're going to do your very best to stand by him through thick and thin.
You reckon?
I reckon.
Sing Sweet Sue, eh?
Are you serious? Me, a senior registrar here at the Gillies?
Giles, there's no need to thank me.
The rest of my life? Working with her? What have you done?